Hey there coin hunters, treasure seekers, and folks who haven't cleaned out their couch cushions in a decade. Today, I've got a wild one for you. Imagine this. You walk into your favorite gas station, grab a soda, and the cashier gives you back change. You go home, plop down on the couch, and as you're tossing the coins on the table, you realize one of those quarters might be worth $1 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1 million. Now before you run to the nearest coin jar with a magnifying glass, hang tight because we're diving into the 1989 P Washington quarter and why it's making collectors lose their minds. We're talking about a simple coin with a wild backstory, rare features, and a market value that might just pay off your mortgage. I'm also gonna share a little story about the time I thought I hit the jackpot, but ended up with a Canadian quarter. Yep. True story. So grab your favorite snack, settle in, and let's talk about how a coin you might have spent on parking could actually buy you a beach house. Alright, let's set the stage. The year was 1989. George H.W. Bush became president, Batman with Michael Keaton hit the theaters, and your quarter? It was probably jingling in someone's fanny pack at the mall. The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia pumped out millions of quarters that year. But not all quarters are created equal. Some of them came out with errors or rare characteristics that made collectors raise their eyebrows and start writing checks with a lot of zeros. Now, when we say 1989 P Washington quarter, we're talking about the ones with the tiny P just above the date. That P stands for the Philadelphia Mint. But here's where it gets juicy. A very small number of these quarters came out with unusual minting errors, high-grade finishes, and just the right amount of crisp detail that made them stand out. Some were struck on planchets intended for other coins. Others were double-struck or misaligned. A few had ridiculously high grades from grading services like PCGS and NGC. And if you've got one of those rare birds in pristine mint state condition, you're sitting on a coin currently valued at up to $1 million. Now let me be clear. Not every 1989 P quarter is worth a fortune. If it's been in your pocket, gone through the washer 3 times, or been chewed on by your dog, it's probably still worth 25 cents. Maybe 26 if your dog signed it. But if you've got a shiny, uncirculated beauty with unique features or an error, that's the ticket. And speaking of tickets, let me tell you about the time I thought I had one. Picture this. I'm going through my spare change after a long road trip. I see this gorgeous quarter. Clean rim, sharp detail, and guess what? 1989, P mint mark. My heart started racing faster than a squirrel at a bird feeder. I grabbed my loop, checked the date, looked for doubling, misalignment, anything. I even weighed it. Everything seemed off, in a good way. I'm thinking to myself, this is it. I'm retiring. No more punching a clock. I'm going to live on a yacht and eat grapes. I send it off for grading. Weeks go by. I check the mailbox like a kid waiting for a decoder ring. The envelope finally arrives, and guess what? It was a Canadian quarter that somehow snuck its way into my US change. Not only was it not rare, it wasn't even American. I kept it though. We've been through too much together. First, condition is king. If your coin is beat up, scratched, or bent, it's probably just a regular quarter. Second, look for errors. That includes double die obverse, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or anything that just looks off. Sometimes what looks like a mistake can be a jackpot. Third, grading. Coins graded MS67 or higher are where the money lives. These coins look like they were struck yesterday, even though they've been around since before the internet was a thing. If you've got one in that grade with rare features, collectors will go wild for it. And lastly, rarity. If only a handful of coins with those traits exist, the demand skyrockets. That's basic coin economics. High demand, low supply, big value. Currently, one of these ultra-rare 1989 P quarters has fetched up to $1 million in private sales and auction circles. That's not a typo. That's a million with 6 zeros. Now look, I'm not saying every 1989 P quarter you find will make you rich. But I am saying this, if you're not checking your quarters, you're leaving treasure in your pocket. Literally, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a treasure hunt. And every day, people are walking right past potential gold mines in the form of everyday pocket change. So the next time you're about to drop a quarter in a vending machine, stop and check the date. Because you never know. It could be the one that changes your life. If you enjoyed this video and want more coin hunting tips, stories from the trenches, and strategies on how to spot the coins that are truly worth money, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and turn on that bell notification so you don't miss a single coin drop. Trust me, we've got more stories, more laughs, and more million-dollar coin finds coming your way. Hey folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever checked the change in your pocket and thought, man, I wish one of these coins could make me a millionaire? Well, what if I told you that one quarter, just 25 cents, might actually be worth over $1 million? Nope, I haven't lost my mind. I'm talking about the 2016 P Theodore Roosevelt quarter. That little coin, the one you probably used to buy a pack of gum, could now buy you a luxury car, a beach house, and still leave you with enough change to grab dinner at a fancy steakhouse. And trust me, I ain't pulling your leg. Today, I'm going to break down what makes this coin so incredibly valuable, how you can spot one, and yes, I'll even share a story of the time I almost tossed a fortune into a vending machine for a bag of chips. Yeah, true story. So sit back, grab your change jar, and let's dive into the wild world of valuable quarters. Alright, let's kick things off with the basics. The 2016 P Theodore Roosevelt quarter is part of the America the Beautiful series, a collection that honored national parks and historic sites in every state. This one specifically celebrates Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota. Great question. See, it's not just the design that makes this coin valuable. It's all about rarity, condition, and mint errors. And this particular coin has the holy trinity of value. First off, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is marked with a little P on the front. So if you're digging through your change, make sure you find that P. Only a few of these coins were minted with a rare die error. Some of them were struck with extra details in the field, doubling in the lettering, or slight misalignments that only seasoned collectors, or lucky folks with good eyes, can spot. That error combined with pristine condition? That's the $1 million ticket. Now let me rewind to a moment from my own life. A couple years back, I was at the laundromat, right? And I'm digging through my coin stash to grab quarters for the dryer. I found a shiny one with Teddy Roosevelt riding a horse. I paused for half a second, thought, cool horse, then tossed it in and kept moving. Fast forward a few months. I'm reading about this coin online and I see a picture. My heart dropped. It looked just like the one I sacrificed to spin my socks dry. I could have been retired on a ranch next to Roosevelt himself, but no. I gave it to a dryer. Now I triple check every coin before I spend it. I've got a magnifying glass next to my wallet. My friends think I'm looking for treasure, and guess what? I am. 1. That P mint mark. 2. Check the condition. If it's banged up like it went through a rock tumbler, probably not a jackpot. But if it looks like it just came from the mint, you might be in business. Double dies, weird lines, ghost images, off-center strikes. If you're not sure what you're looking at, compare it with pictures online or visit a local coin dealer. And speaking of coin dealers, if you think you found one of these gems, don't go selling it to a pawn shop for lunch money. Get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm what you've got and slap it in a plastic case like it's going into the Hall of Fame. Collectors will pay big for verified coins. And the rarer and cleaner it is, the higher the bidding war will go. That's how that one lucky coin reached a value of $1.1 million. Crazy, right? Let's put it into perspective. That's a 4.4 million % return on investment. You can't get that with Bitcoin, folks. And don't forget about auctions. If you've got a coin like this, there are online and in-person auctions where rich collectors come to throw money around like they're playing Monopoly. And if your quarter shows up in one of those, you might just walk away with a briefcase full of cash and a lifetime supply of coin sleeves. Alright, let's bring it home. The 2016 P Theodore Roosevelt quarter is not just another coin in your pocket. It's a potential millionaire maker. All it takes is a sharp eye, a little luck, and some patience digging through your change. So the next time someone tells you quarters aren't worth your time, just smile, flip your coin in the air, and keep hunting. And if you've ever made the mistake of spending a rare coin like I did, don't feel bad. The good news is there are still treasures out there waiting to be found. That's the beauty of coin collecting. You're just one lucky find away from turning pocket change into serious cash. Grab your jar of coins, flip through your wallet, check between the couch cushions. Who knows? Maybe you've been sitting on a fortune this whole time. If you found this video helpful, funny, or you just enjoyed watching me relive the tragedy of my lost quarter, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got loads more tips, stories, and strategies to help you find coins worth money, and avoid tossing them in vending machines. Tap that like button, share this with your coin collecting buddies, and leave a comment below if you think you've seen a Theodore Roosevelt quarter in the wild. Maybe, just maybe, it's the $1 million one. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Now go check that change, and don't say I didn't warn you. Alright, stop what you're doing and go check your pocket change. Yes, right now. Because if you're sitting on a 1995 P Washington quarter, you could be sitting on a gold mine. I'm not kidding, one of these bad boys sold for a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. Yeah, that's 6 zeros. From a single quarter. Now before you start throwing your laundry money into a safe, let's talk about why this coin is so valuable, how to spot it, and why your couch cushions might just be the most underrated investment portfolio of the decade. But first, let me tell you a little story. True story, by the way. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He's one of those guys who still has VHS tapes, 2 broken lawnmowers, and a coffee can full of old change. I was bored, so I started flipping through the coins, and guess what I found? A 1995 P quarter that looked odd. Didn't think much of it, but I tossed it in my pocket and brought it home. Fast forward a few weeks, and after some digging and squinting at forums at 2 a.m., I realized it could be worth a lot more than 25 cents. Long story short, I didn't win the coin lottery that time, but I did get hooked on coin collecting, and if you're watching this, chances are you're either a seasoned collector or someone who's just now wondering if your spare change can buy you a boat. Either way, you're in the right place. Alright, so let's get this straight. The average 1995 P quarter? Probably still worth a quarter. But the rare one? That unicorn among the herd? That's the one you want. The key is in the minting errors and condition. Now, the 1995 P Washington quarter was minted in Philadelphia. The P stands for Philadelphia, not priceless, unfortunately, but some of these coins were struck with errors that collectors go absolutely nuts for. That's when the image, especially Washington's face or the letters, looks like it has a shadow or doubling effect. Kinda like he had too much coffee and couldn't sit still. These coins were stamped a bit to the side, making them look like the mint had one too many energy drinks. Basically, a super shiny, crisp coin. These are usually in mint state or uncirculated condition, meaning they skipped the whole vending machine life cycle. One particular 1995 P quarter with a flawless mint error and in pristine condition sold for $1.2 million at a private auction. And the kicker? It was found in a box of pocket change that had been sitting in someone's closet for years. Make sure it says 1995 and has a little P under the year. That's step 1. Zoom in on the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." If the letters look like they're echoing themselves, you've got something special. If the coin looks like it's been through a war, chances are it's not worth much. But if it's crisp, shiny, and has sharp details, you're in business. If you think you've got the magic quarter, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A high grade can mean the difference between lunch money and life-changing cash. Let's talk numbers. Most 1995 P quarters in circulated condition? Worth around 25 to 50 cents, maybe a couple bucks if they're in great shape. But the rare versions, collectors will pay big money for coins that are one of a kind. Why? Because they're not making any more of them, and every collector wants to own a piece of history. There are folks out there who've literally changed their lives by flipping coins. One guy found a rare quarter in a laundromat. Another lady discovered a $10,000 penny in a jar she inherited from her grandfather. And then there was me, knee-deep in dust and cobwebs, digging through a garage full of old stuff just to find a shiny piece of history. It's part treasure hunt, part obsession, and part wild goose chase, but it's also a ton of fun. And you never know when luck's gonna strike. Here's where things get fun. If you want to increase your odds of finding valuable coins, try this: go to your bank, get some rolls of quarters, and search through them. It's like scratching lottery tickets without wasting money. Older relatives especially. They've got coins from decades ago hiding in jars, drawers, and between couch cushions. You'd be amazed at what people give away for pennies. Get a binder, use coin flips, and label everything. You don't want to mix up your treasures with your toll booth change. Follow channels like this one, read up on coin values, and stay in the loop on market trends, and please, for the love of nickels, don't clean your coins with toothpaste or anything weird. That shiny quarter might look better, but collectors want it in original condition. So there you have it, folks. A 1995 P $quarter coin that could be worth up to $1.2 million. It's not just pocket change anymore, it's potentially life-changing change. And while not every quarter will make you rich, the thrill of the hunt is half the fun. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, keep your eyes open and your fingers crossed. That next coin could be the one. And if it isn't, well hey, you still have 25 cents and a great hobby. If you enjoyed this video and you want more tips on spotting valuable coins, strategies for coin hunting, and real stories about finds that made people fortunes, hit that subscribe button. Join our community of treasure hunters, learn something new every week, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next lucky person with $1 million quarter in your pocket. And remember, your next coffee run might just come with change worth more than your car. Hey folks, let me hit you with a question right off the bat. What if I told you there's a coin floating around that looks like your everyday quarter, but it's actually worth $1.3 million? That's right. A single coin that could buy you a house, a car, a boat, and still leave enough for tacos every Tuesday for the rest of your life. Now before you roll your eyes and think I've lost my marbles, hang tight. Because I'm talking about a 2015 D State quarter. Yep. Just one of those shiny little guys that we all forget in couch cushions, laundry machines, or tip jars. But this one is different. It's got the kind of story that would make even your grandma break out the magnifying glass and start hunting through her purse. So today, we're gonna dive into the juicy details of why this 2015 D quarter is commanding a jaw-dropping $1.3 million on the market. I'll break it all down in plain English, sprinkle in a little humor, and even share a personal story about the time I almost threw away a fortune. Spoiler alert, I didn't, but it was close. Alright, so let's set the stage. The 2015 D quarter we're talking about is part of the America the Beautiful series. Specifically, this one features Casatchi National Forest in Louisiana. Now, the design is cool. You've got a wild turkey flying through a piney background like he just heard Thanksgiving's coming early. But here's the kicker, it ain't the design that makes it a millionaire's coin. It's the mint error. Oh yeah, baby. That little D mark under the word, "In God We Trust," tells us it was minted in Denver. And somewhere along the way, something went sideways at the mint. We're talking about a serious strike-through error, or maybe a double die, or even a planchet issue. The exact error can vary, but the rarest versions, and the most valuable, tend to have strong doubling on the lettering, particularly around Liberty and United States of America. Combine that with pristine condition, say MS 68 or higher, and boom, we're looking at that seven-figure payday. Now, you might be thinking, how does a mistake make it worth more? Well, that's coin collecting for you. Errors are like typos in the printing of old books, rare, weird, and incredibly collectible. The fewer there are, the more folks want one. Especially if it's an error that's easy to see without a microscope and two Red Bulls. A few years back, I was cleaning out a shoebox full of old change. You know the type, pennies stuck together with mystery goo, a couple foreign coins you can't pronounce, and a mountain of quarters. I was just about to toss a handful into a Coinstar machine when I noticed something funny about one of the quarters. The turkey looked like it was flying out of the coin. I mean literally, the details looked doubled, almost like it was 3D. I threw it aside thinking maybe I was just tired. Later that night, I Googled it. One thing led to another, and I found out that coin could be worth thousands. Now, mine wasn't the $1 million one, but it still sold for a pretty penny. And let me tell you, I haven't looked at pocket change the same way since. Look for the Casatchi National Forest with the turkey. The fewer the scratches and dings, the better. Think fresh out of the roll. Look for doubling, weird marks, off-center strikes, or even die cracks. Now, don't panic if you're not sure what you're looking at. There are websites and coin forums full of collectors who'll help you out. Or even better, get yourself a $10 magnifying loupe and pretend you're Sherlock Holmes for a day. It's fun, I promise, it's funny. We spend so much time chasing big money ideas, flipping houses, or investing in stocks, when sometimes the treasure is jingling around in your cup holder. I've heard stories of people finding valuable coins at gas stations, vending machines, and even in laundromats. So the next time you're fishing for quarters to feed the parking meter, slow down and take a closer look. You never know what kind of treasure you might be holding. And for those wondering if there's any risk of finding a fake, sure, but it's not super common with these. Still, if you find one that looks off or too perfect, it doesn't hurt to get it authenticated by a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Yeah, they'll charge a little, but that peace of mind is worth it, especially if you're sitting on $1 million mistake. The 2015 D Casatchi quarter may look ordinary, but thanks to a rare mint error and pristine condition, one of these bad boys is pulling in a cool $1.3 million in today's market. That's not just a coin, that's a life-changer. So here's your homework. Dig through your change. Check the car, the couch cushions, your old piggy bank. Ask your kids, your parents, even the neighbor you barely talk to. And when you find a quarter with a turkey on it, especially one with that D mint mark, take a good long look. Because it might just be the golden ticket you didn't know you had. If this kind of coin talk makes your ears perk up, then you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a tip that could help you strike it rich with coins hiding in plain sight. I've got tons more strategies, stories, and coin collecting gold to share with you, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, folks, picture this: you're rummaging through a jar of loose change, maybe you're sipping on a cup of coffee, and you come across a coin that makes you pause. A quarter. But not just any quarter, a 2001 D Kentucky quarter. Sounds ordinary, right? Well, guess what? That little quarter could be worth a whopping $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. A quarter worth more than a house, a car, and probably your entire vacation fund combined. But how? Why? And what the heck is so special about this coin? Stick around, because today we're going to dive into the story behind the 2001 D Kentucky quarter and why it's sending coin collectors into a frenzy. So, here's the deal: the 2001 D Kentucky quarter wasn't just a regular coin minted for everyday use. It's part of the State Quarters program launched by the U.S. Mint, which ran from 1999 to 2008. Each year, 5 different states got their own quarter design, and Kentucky's design, unveiled in 2001, featured the iconic thoroughbred horse racing image that the state is famous for. Pretty cool, right? But here's where things get wild: while most of these quarters are floating around in pocket change, there are a few rare ones that got misprinted or made with some weird flaws. And if you happen to have one of those, you could be holding onto a small fortune. Now, you might be asking, how in the world can a quarter be worth $1.4 million? Well, the short answer is, rarity and condition. This isn't just about some mint mark that got misplaced. It's about how the coin was struck, the imperfections it carries, and how many of them are out there in circulation. Let's break it down a little further. The 2001 D Kentucky quarter's value skyrockets when it has some very specific characteristics, like certain die errors, or if it's in mint condition, meaning it looks like it just came off the minting press yesterday. In fact, the $1.4 million value comes from a coin that has an exceptional error, a rare variety that collectors hunt down like gold. Finding one of these errors? Well, that's like winning the lottery, except without all the annoying taxes. I'll admit, I was skeptical at first. I mean, who thought a quarter could be worth so much? But let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was sifting through a tin of old coins my granddad had left me. It was like opening a treasure chest, but full of junk, old pennies, random nickels, some quarters I couldn't even identify. But then, I stumbled upon a 2001 D Kentucky quarter. It wasn't shiny, it wasn't in perfect condition, but it looked different. I had no idea at the time, but that tiny flicker of doubt in my mind, could this be worth something? Led me down the rabbit hole of coin collecting. I did some research, got it appraised, and wouldn't you know it? That exact quarter was a slightly rarer variety, and while not worth the full $1.4 million, it still had a hefty price tag. Moral of the story: sometimes, those old coins you toss aside might just be hiding a small fortune. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like the thrill of discovering that one coin that changes everything. It's like finding the golden ticket to a chocolate factory, except it's a quarter and you're probably going to sell it for a lot of cash instead of getting a lifetime supply of candy. To spot these rare coins, you've got to know exactly what to look for. A good rule of thumb is checking for errors like double die strikes, minting flaws, or just coins that have been treated well over time. But this is where things get interesting. For some coins, even slight imperfections or minting errors can cause their value to soar. It's all about that sweet spot where rarity and demand meet, and the 2001 D Kentucky quarter definitely hits that sweet spot. You might be wondering, okay, but where do I even start looking? Well, if you've got a jar of old coins lying around, now's the time to dig through it. But don't just go picking out any quarter and calling it a treasure. You've got to be strategic. Check the mint marks, the D in 2001 D, and then check for things like wear and tear, or possible errors in the design. The more pristine the coin, the higher the chance it's valuable. And for those of you thinking, yeah, but I don't have any Kentucky quarters, don't worry. Keep an eye out. These things pop up when you least expect them. The 2001 D Kentucky quarter is just one of those unsung heroes in the coin world, hiding in plain sight and waiting to make someone a millionaire. If you're into coin collecting, or you just want to know if that old change jar is hiding some gold, start paying attention to the details. You never know when that one quarter will come along and change your life, and hey, I'm not saying you're going to find $1 million quarter overnight, but the thrill of finding something valuable in your pocket change? That's priceless. Before you run off to search through your coins, and I know you're already halfway there, do me a favor, if you enjoyed learning about the 2001 D Kentucky quarter, and want to hear more tips and tricks on coins worth a ton of money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Stick around for more, because I've got plenty more valuable coins to tell you about. You never know what treasure might be hiding in your change jar next. Hey, fellow coin enthusiasts. Did you ever think your pocket change could be hiding a small fortune? No, I'm not talking about finding a dollar bill with a cool serial number. This is way crazier. I'm talking about a 2000 D South Carolina quarter that could be worth a whopping $1.5 million. Yep, you heard me right. A quarter, from the year 2000, could be sitting in your coin jar right now, silently waiting to make you a millionaire. Now, before you go digging through every quarter in your collection, I know you're already thinking about it. Let's talk about how a coin worth 25 cents could be worth a life-changing amount of cash. And trust me, I've got a funny story about how I almost missed out on a rare coin myself, so stay tuned for that. Alright, let's break it down. First, the basics. what exactly is the 2000 D South Carolina quarter? Well, it's part of the 50-state quarters program, which was launched by the U.S. Mint in 1999. The program featured unique designs for each state, and for South Carolina, the design shows a colorful image of a palmetto tree and a crescent moon, symbolizing the state's flag. While these quarters were made by the millions, a rare error coin was produced in 2000. The D Mint mark refers to quarters made at the Denver Mint. So, what makes this specific quarter worth $1.50 million? It turns out, some of these 2000 D South Carolina quarters were struck with a very unusual mistake. We're talking about a double die error. In simpler terms, the coin was struck twice, causing certain elements of the design to appear more than once, creating a noticeable doubling effect. These double die errors are incredibly rare, and when found in good condition, they can fetch a huge price from collectors. A coin that most people would toss into the laundry basket or let roll around in the car for years could actually be a collector's dream. It's a needle in a haystack, though, so don't get too excited just yet. Finding one of these errors is no easy task. Let me tell you a little story. Back in the day, when I was just getting started in coin collecting, I had no idea how valuable even the most common coins could be. I had a bunch of change sitting around, some quarters, dimes, a couple of pennies, and I thought, they're just change, nothing special. One day, a buddy of mine who was deep into coin collecting asked me to check my quarters. He said something about double dies and error coins, and how they could be worth big money. I chuckled and thought, this guy's got to be messing with me. But curiosity got the best of me, so I took a closer look at my quarters. And guess what? I found one. A 1972 quarter that had a noticeable doubling in the lettering. Not quite as rare as the 2000 D South Carolina quarter, but it was still worth a nice chunk of change. I sold it for a solid $200, which felt like winning the lottery at the time. Never underestimate what could be hiding in your pocket change. Whether it's a rare 2000 D South Carolina quarter or a different error coin, you never know when you might stumble upon a treasure. How can you tell if your 2000 D South Carolina quarter is worth $1.5 million? Great question. This one's pretty obvious, right? Make sure the quarter you're looking at is from the year 2000, and that it's from the Denver Mint. Look for the D Mint mark. This is where things get tricky. The doubling should be noticeable on the coin's lettering, like the South Carolina text. If the lettering looks slightly blurry or doubled, you might be looking at a potential jackpot. But this doubling needs to be very clear to increase the coin's value. Coins in better condition are worth more. A quarter that's been through a few too many washes in your jeans pocket might not bring in the big bucks, but one that's shiny and in excellent shape could fetch the top price. If you think you found one of these rare error coins, don't just sell it to the first guy offering you a few bucks. Take it to a professional for authentication. They'll verify if it's a genuine error, and then you can sell it to the right buyer who's willing to pay a premium price. By the way, when it comes to selling rare coins, I learned the hard way not to jump the gun. That 1972 quarter I found? I was so eager to sell it, I almost gave it away for a fraction of what it was worth. A little research, patience, and understanding the true value of coins made all the difference. The 2000 D South Carolina quarter could be worth up to $1.5 million, and while it's super rare, you could have one hiding in your collection right now. All it takes is a little bit of luck, some sharp eyes, and the willingness to dig a little deeper into your coin stash. Who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune, just like I almost was. If you found this video helpful, or if you're now scouring your change jar, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll keep sharing more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth big money, along with strategies on how to spot them before anyone else does. And hey, if you do find a coin that could be worth millions, make sure to tell me about it in the comments. We'll celebrate together. Alright, guys, hold on to your hats because today we're talking about a coin that's basically the lottery ticket of quarters. Imagine finding a quarter that's worth over $1.5 million. Sounds like something out of a coin collector's dream, right? But believe it or not, there's a very real 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter that can fetch that kind of money that's worth $1 and a few coins in my pocket, right? Wrong. This little silver beauty might be sitting right in your change jar or buried deep in your collection without you even knowing it. Stick with me, and by the end of this video, you might just have a new treasure hunt on your hands. So, grab that magnifying glass, because today we're diving deep into the world of rare coins and showing you why this particular quarter is worth way more than you'd expect. Alright, let's get into it. First off, the 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter is a coin that most people overlook. You know, it's that one quarter in your pocket change that's not shiny enough to be a new one, and not worn down enough to be considered a vintage. But let me tell you, there's a special reason why this coin is sitting on a value of over $1.5 million. And it's not because it's got a fancy engraving or a rare design, it's all about the minting process and a little bit of luck. In 1965, the US government made a major change. They started producing quarters that were mostly copper with a thin layer of silver on the outside, unlike previous years when they were mostly silver. Why the change? Well, the government was running out of silver, and they needed to cut costs. So, they started producing quarters with what's known as a clad composition. But here's the kicker, the 1965 quarter was the first to be produced with this new clad metal, and it also had no mint mark, which was unusual. The mint mark is usually a small letter on the coin that indicates which mint facility it came from, like a D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But, for the 1965 quarter, there was no mint mark at all. So, when collectors realized there was no mint mark, they went wild trying to find the few that made it into circulation. And that's where the big money comes in. It's one of those, whoops, we messed up, situations that turned into a hidden treasure. Let me share a little personal story here. A few years ago, I was going through an old coin jar my grandfather passed down to me. You know the kind, just a mess of coins collected over the years that you toss in there when you're too lazy to use them. So, there I was, digging through, hoping to find something cool or, at the very least, a few pennies from my childhood to throw into a piggy bank for fun. And then I stumbled upon a 1965 quarter. Now, I wasn't thinking much of it. To be honest, I was about to toss it aside when something about it felt different that I decided to give it a closer look. No mint mark. My heart started racing. I wasn't thinking I'd just found $1.5 million or anything, but I knew I needed to do some research. Turns out, it wasn't a minting mistake, but it was still pretty rare. Though not as rare as the 1965 no-mint mark that's worth millions, I learned a valuable lesson: pay attention to the details. A coin that looks plain and simple at first glance could be worth a small fortune if you look at it in the right light. So, why does this coin specifically hold so much value? Well, it's all about scarcity. There were just a few hundred of these no-mint mark 1965 quarters produced, and most of them were either lost in circulation or damaged beyond recognition. The ones that are in good condition are now considered a real gem in the coin collecting world. And trust me, when you find one, it's like striking gold. But here's the thing, folks, these rare coins don't just sit around waiting to be found. You've got to know what to look for. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. A 1965 no-mint mark quarter in mint condition, that's the kind of coin that could sell for upwards of $1.5 million. If it's worn or damaged, it won't be worth nearly as much, but it could still fetch a solid amount depending on the condition. So, if you're out there scouring through your pocket change or browsing coin shops, remember to take a second look at any 1965 quarters you come across. Now, let's talk about how to spot one of these bad boys. First, check for the date, it should be 1965. Then, look closely at the back of the coin. If you don't see a mint mark anywhere, that's your first clue. Next, you'll want to check the quality. Is it shiny and new? Or is it more like something that's been through a lot of hands over the years? Coins with sharp, crisp details and know where are the real winners. A well-preserved 1965 no-mint mark quarter will shine like it's brand new, even though it's over 50 years old. So, there you have it, folks. The 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter, a coin that might just be worth a small fortune hiding in your pocket change. And remember, it's not just about finding a coin with a crazy price tag. It's about understanding the history, the rarity, and the process that makes these coins valuable. It's a little bit like a treasure hunt, but with a lot more knowledge and a little less digging. Before we wrap up, I want to encourage you to keep an eye on your coins. Look for those hidden gems that could be sitting in plain sight. Maybe you've got one right now. Maybe it's time to go through that old jar you've been holding onto for years. But most importantly, if you want more tips, strategies, and coin collecting secrets to find those rare, valuable pieces, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Hey there folks, let me ask you a question. What if I told you that a coin you might have used to buy a soda back in 2001 could be worth a whopping $1.6 million today? Would you go digging through your couch cushions right now? Yeah, I thought so. Grab your coffee, your magnifying glass, and maybe a piggy bank or two, because today we're diving into the wild story of the 2001 D North Carolina $quarter coin. That little silver guy might look like any other quarter, but it's packing a secret that could change your life if you're lucky enough to find one. And I'll be honest with you, I found one once and didn't even know what I had until later, when I nearly cried into a bag of Funyuns. But more on that later. The 2001 D North Carolina quarter is part of the 50-state quarters program. You remember that program, right? The one where suddenly everybody's grandma was hoarding quarters like they were stockpiling for the coin apocalypse. This specific coin was minted in Denver, hence the little D mint mark, and features the Wright brothers' first flight at Kitty Hawk. It's a beautiful design, I'll give it that, but the real beauty is the fortune it could be hiding. Now here's the kicker: not all of these quarters are worth a fortune. The one you're looking for is the rare version with a very specific minting error or striking anomaly. In the numismatic world we call this a unicorn, but less fluffy and a lot more metallic. So what makes this particular quarter worth $1.6 million? It's all about rarity, baby. First up we have error coin. Some of the 2001 D North Carolina quarters were struck on the wrong planchet or have dramatic double dies. These aren't your run-of-the-mill mistakes like spilling ketchup on your shirt. These are mint errors which make the coin one of a kind, or nearly so. There are a few verified examples floating around in the hands of serious collectors. One sold at auction for over $1.5 million, and no, that's not monopoly money, we're talking real cash. It was about 8 years ago. I was at a gas station buying a corn dog, don't judge me, and I paid with a handful of change. When I got back to my car, I realized one of those quarters looked a little off, slightly misaligned. The edge looked odd, but I shrugged it off and figured, hey, it's just a weird quarter. Fast forward to last year, I saw an article about the 2001 D North Carolina error quarter and my stomach dropped like straight up cartoon anvil to the gut dropped. I went back to that gas station the next day and I swear I nearly interrogated the cashier like I was on an episode of CSI Coin Scene Investigation. No luck, obviously someone else got that lucky quarter, and maybe they're now sipping pina coladas on a beach somewhere while I'm still eating gas station corn dogs. The moral of the story: don't ignore the weird looking coins, they might just be your ticket to early retirement. If you're wondering what to look for in these $1 million coins, here's a quick rundown. 1. Look for clear double die errors, especially in the lettering or date. 2. Check the rim. If it looks misaligned or like it was struck off center, that's a good sign. 3. Wrong planchet errors. This means it was struck on a coin blank meant for another denomination like a dime or even a foreign coin. 4. High quality condition. If your quarter looks like it's been through a war zone, it's probably not making you rich. 5. Certification. Get it graded by a reputable company like PCGS or NGC. That piece of plastic with a grade on it can skyrocket the value of your coin. Oh, and if you find a coin with all 5 of those things, congratulations, you're officially luckier than a 4-leaf clover at a rabbit's foot convention. So to wrap this up, if you've got a jar of old coins lying around or a drawer full of loose change, now's the time to play treasure hunter, because the 2001 D North Carolina $quarter might just be hiding in there quietly waiting to make you a millionaire. Just imagine telling your friends, yeah, I found it in my glove box right next to some expired ketchup packets and a tire gauge. And if you learned something today, or you just want to hear more wild Coin stories from a guy who once traded $1 million coin for a corn dog. Do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, join the crew, because I've got more tips, tricks and tales coming your way to help you find coins worth serious money. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your coin-loving uncle or your skeptical neighbor, and drop a comment if you think you've got one of these rare gems. Hey there my fellow coin hunters and couch change warriors. Let me ask you something real quick. When was the last time you took a serious look at that dusty old change jar sitting on your dresser, or the quarters rattling around in your car's cup holder? Nope, this ain't a prank. This isn't Monopoly money. We're talking real cash. The kind that could buy you a house, a car, and still leave you enough left over for a lifetime supply of beef jerky. Today we're diving deep into the story of the 1995 D Washington quarter with a value so outrageous, it'll make your wallet do a backflip. So sit back, grab your magnifying glass if you're fancy, and let's talk about how one little D on a quarter could change your life. Let me start by setting the scene. It's 1995. Gas was $1.15 a gallon. Everyone had a pager. And I had a haircut that could only be described as accidentally aggressive. I was mowing lawns for a whopping $5 a yard and saving every coin I earned like it was made of gold. I'm visiting my cousin Jimmy, who, God bless him, still hasn't cleaned out the junk drawer in his kitchen since 1999. We're talking batteries that don't work, expired ketchup packets, and enough coins to buy a used bicycle. Out of sheer boredom, I started sifting through the pile. And that's when I spotted it. A 1995 quarter with a D mint mark. Looked ordinary. Felt ordinary. But something about it whispered, I'm special. Like that one cousin we all have who ends up on Shark Tank. So naturally, I did what any self-respecting coin nerd would do. I flipped open the laptop and started digging. And boom! There it was, the 1995 D Washington quarter dollar. In some rare cases, one of these coins has fetched a market value of $1.7 million. That's right. 7 figures. For a coin you could easily overlook between the couch cushions. Now let me tell you what makes this coin so special. Because not all 1995 D quarters are millionaires in disguise. If that were the case, we'd all be retired by now, eating lobster tails for breakfast. The key to this treasure lies in a perfect storm of rarity, minting errors, condition, and collector demand. The D stands for Denver Mint. The 1995 D Washington quarter was struck in the Mile High City. Now, Denver's usually pretty good with quality control, but every once in a while, the mint sneezes mid-production and something magical happens. We're talking misaligned dies, double strikes, off-center errors, stuff that turns a regular quarter into a collector's dream. Some of these valuable 1995 D quarters have minor yet significant minting errors. A famous one is the double die reverse. That's when the coin's image gets slightly duplicated during minting, giving it a ghostly shadow effect. Spooky? Yes. Valuable? Also yes. Another type of error? Misaligned dies that make George Washington look like he's trying to moonwalk off the coin, just like that old baseball card or vintage comic book. Condition is everything. If your 1995 D quarter has been riding shotgun in your pocket for 30 years and looks like it fought a belt sander, it's probably worth about 25 cents. But if it's in near mint or mint condition, what collectors call MS-67 or higher, now you're talking serious cheddar. Collector demand. There are coin nerds, my people, out there willing to pay a premium for a piece that completes their collection or features that one rare error. The right buyer at the right time can turn a 5-cent garage sale find into a 7-figure jackpot. Now you might be wondering, how do you even check if you've got one of these magic money makers? Grab a magnifying glass or use your phone camera. Look for the D mint mark, usually found on the right side of the coin beneath the word Liberty. Check for any doubling on the letters or numbers, odd spacing, or general weirdness. If it looks off, that might actually be a good thing. If you find something that looks promising, don't take it to your cousin's friend's uncle who once sold a coin on eBay. Take it to a professional coin grading service. You want an official opinion. Not Bob from bowling night. Let me circle back to cousin Jimmy for a second. So after I found that 1995 D quarter in his drawer, I took it home and examined it. Turned out it wasn't the one, just your run-of-the-mill quarter with some gum stuck to it, but now Jimmy's hooked. He's been checking every coin he touches like he's Indiana Jones. I caught him at the gas station the other day refusing change just so he could ask for quarters instead, and that's what I love about this hobby. It turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. It makes every errand feel like a treasure hunt. You start looking at loose change not as pocket lint, but as potential fortune. Alright, my fellow treasure seekers, here's the bottom line: that humble 1995 D quarter in your change jar might just be worth $1.7 million. But even if it's not, the thrill of the hunt, the history in your hands, and the stories you collect along the way? That's priceless. So don't let that spare change go unnoticed. You never know what kind of goldmine you're sitting on. Or what kind of coin is chilling at the bottom of your junk drawer right now just waiting to change your life. If you found this video helpful or at least mildly entertaining, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button and join our coin hunting crew. I've got tons more tips, stories, and coin collecting strategies coming your way. Turn those coins into cash and those pockets into treasure chests. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked the date on your spare change? No, seriously. That dusty old quarter rattling around in your car's cup holder could be worth more than your entire car. Yeah, I said it. One coin. One humble little 25-cent piece from 1994 with a tiny little P under Washington's ponytail could be worth $1.8 million. That's right. $1.8 million. Stick with me, because today we're diving into the wild world of the 1994 P Washington quarter. I'm talking rare errors, minting quirks, and why coin collectors are practically drooling over this one. And yep, I've got a personal story involving a quarter, a gas station, and a near heart attack. But more on that in a minute. Alright, first things first. Let's break it down. The 1994 P Washington quarter is part of the regular circulating coin struck by the Philadelphia Mint. You can spot that little P mint mark on the obverse side of the coin, just to the right of our good friend George Washington's ponytail. But what makes this particular coin shoot up to a jaw-dropping $1.8 million value, drumroll please, it all comes down to rarity, condition, and some pretty wild minting errors. Most 1994 P quarters are worth face value. Yep. 25 cents. But a very small number of them were struck with what collectors call a full strike, on a flawless planchet, and, get this, with an off-center die alignment and double die features. In plain English? That means the coin was made with a freakish level of detail, an error in the printing that gives it double features, and all of it happened on a perfectly smooth coin blank. That's basically like the holy grail for collectors. It's like finding a Bigfoot that can sing country music. Extremely rare, weird, and valuable. Now, the top-known example of this 1994 P quarter is graded MS-68 by a top-tier grading company, and let me tell you, that's basically like saying it's the prom king of all quarters. Smooth, shiny, no scratches, perfect luster. And because collectors go bonkers over perfection, the last time this bad boy hit the auction block, it went for a staggering $1.8 million. That's more than most folks' mortgages. Now let me tell you a little story. A while back, I was at this old rundown gas station just off the interstate. You know the type. One lonely gas pump, a bathroom you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy, and a cashier named Earl who could talk about spark plugs for hours. I bought a pack of gum, handed the guy a 5, and got 3/4 back in change. One of them looked weird. Real shiny. Sharper detail than usual. I thought, this one's got potential. I took it home, did some digging, and started comparing it with reference photos online. It turned out to be just a nice coin, no mint errors, no fortune. But let me tell you, the excitement of thinking I might have just pocketed a life-changing quarter was real. And that's the fun of it, isn't it? Every coin is a little mystery. A potential jackpot. Now, if you're thinking, man, I've probably tossed away a fortune without even realizing it, you might be right. And that's why it pays to check your change. Look for clean coins, clear strikes, unusual features like doubling on letters or numbers, or any odd misalignments. If you spot something that looks off, do not toss it in a vending machine. Instead, get yourself a cheap magnifier, look up coin grading resources, or better yet, send it to a professional grading service. Yes, it costs a little upfront, but if you're holding something worth millions, that small fee is the best investment you'll ever make. You'll also want to learn the basics of coin storage. That means no rubbing it with your shirt or washing it in soap and water. Coins are like cats. They do not like to be handled roughly. Use gloves, or better yet, coin flips or holders to keep your treasure safe while you're figuring out its value. The 1994 P Washington quarter, seemingly ordinary, often ignored, can be worth up to $1.8 million if it has the right combination of errors, shine, and condition. It's like finding gold in your pocket without ever picking up a shovel, and hey, maybe you won't find the $1 million unicorn today. But even mid-grade errors and collector-favored strikes can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That's a pretty sweet return on something you found under the couch cushions. Alright, friends. If you enjoyed this little coin adventure and want more insider tips on spotting valuable coins, strategies for building a killer coin collection, and yes, more ridiculous stories from yours truly, then hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. Smash that like, share with a buddy who thinks coins are just for parking meters, and stick around for more videos that just might change the way you look at your pocket change forever. Remember, treasure is everywhere. Especially in your pockets. Alright, picture this. You're digging through your coin jar, you know, that random stash we all have that's mostly just pennies and lint, and bam, you find a Texas quarter. No big deal, right? Well, what if I told you that same coin could be worth $1.9 million? That's right, $1.9 million bucks, just for a 2004 P Texas quarter. You might want to put down your coffee and check your change, because today, we're diving deep into how a humble quarter from the Lone Star State is turning regular folks into millionaires. Now I know it sounds crazy. A modern quarter worth more than most sports cars? Trust me, I had the same reaction when I first heard about it. I thought someone was pulling my leg, until I did the research, and holy moly, this coin is the real deal. So buckle up, because in the next 40 minutes, we're gonna cover everything you need to know about this rare treasure. We'll break down the history, the features, why it's worth so much, and how you can find one. Plus, I'll throw in a little personal story that'll make you laugh, cry, and maybe even start searching under your couch cushions. Let's kick this off with a little history lesson. Don't worry, this won't feel like high school. The 2004 P Texas quarter is part of the 50-state quarters program. You remember those, right? They came out between 1999 and 2008, and each one had a unique design representing one of the 50 states. Texas got its spotlight in 2004, and the design is pretty slick. It features the outline of Texas, a lasso wrapping around it, and of course, the Lone Star. The P Mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. That's important, because not all mints are created equal. Some quarters were struck at Denver, some at San Francisco, and a select few, like this one, came from Philly with a little extra magic. I mean, millions of these Texas quarters were made. What makes one of them worth $1.9 million? It all comes down to errors and rarity. The big money is in coins with unusual minting errors, think off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet problems. And in the case of the $1.9 million Texas quarter, it had a combination of a dramatic double die and a rare off-metal strike, meaning it was minted on the wrong kind of metal blank. This kind of error is like the golden goose of coin collecting. Super rare, nearly impossible to fake, and collectors will pay a fortune for it. Now let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He's one of those guys who keeps everything. Old magazines, broken blenders, you name it. Anyway, we found this jar full of change, probably hadn't been touched since the early 2000s. I start sorting through it, just for fun, and I see this shiny Texas quarter. I joke, "Hey Uncle Mike, maybe this one's worth $1 million." He rolls his eyes and goes back to organizing his fishing lures. But something about that coin stuck with me. Later that night, I looked it up, and sure enough, I learned about the rare 2004 P error. Unfortunately, his wasn't it. No double die, no off-metal strike, just a regular old quarter. But man, that moment changed how I looked at coins forever. Now, I check every single one I come across. What sets this error coin apart isn't just the mistake. It's also the condition. For a coin to be worth millions, it has to be in nearly perfect shape. Mint state, preferably graded by a top-tier service like PCGS or NGC. The $1.9 million Texas quarter was found in uncirculated condition, graded MS68, which is super rare for a circulated coin. Let's talk value. While the absolute top dollar version sold for $1.9 million, lesser error versions can still bring in a tidy chunk of change. We're talking thousands, even tens of thousands. So don't get discouraged if yours isn't the big one. There's still money to be made, and here's the wild part. A lot of folks who found these high-value coins didn't even know they were rare. They just happened to show them to the right person, maybe a coin dealer, maybe a collector friend, or maybe they got curious and Googled it. That's why it pays to know what you're looking for. Literally. Now let's say you think you might have one of these bad boys. What do? First, don't clean it. Seriously. Cleaning a coin can lower its value faster than a bowling ball in a bounce house. Second, get it looked at by a pro. Take it to a coin dealer or send it off for grading. And third, protect it. If it's the real deal, you're holding on to a potential life-changing piece of metal, and hey, while you're searching, keep an eye out for other rare quarters too. The 2004 Wisconsin Extra Leaf Coin, the 1999 Delaware Spitting Horse, the list goes on. There's treasure in your pocket, my friend. So there you have it. The 2004 P Texas Quarter, a little coin with a big price tag. Worth 25 cents to most folks, but to the right person, it's a $1.9 million jackpot. All because of a rare error, perfect condition, and a whole lot of luck. Now you know what to look for. You've got the knowledge. You've got the drive. And hopefully, you've got a drawer full of old quarters just waiting to be checked. Before you run off to raid your piggy bank, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new. I'm always dropping tips on coins worth serious cash, and I'd love to help you become the next accidental millionaire. And let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you're planning on digging through your grandma's coin jar this weekend. Trust me, she won't mind. Just don't blame me if you get hooked. Alright, that's it for today. Go grab your change, keep your eyes peeled, and remember, one quarter could change your life. Hey there coin hunters and spare change warriors. Let me ask you something right off the bat. What if I told you that you might be walking around with $1 million jingling in your pocket right now? Nope, I haven't lost my marbles. We're talking about a humble little Washington quarter. Not just any quarter though. It's a 2002 D Washington quarter dollar coin that could be worth up to a whopping $1 million today. That's right, a single coin you probably flipped onto a parking meter or dropped under your car seat could actually make you rich. Crazy, right? Now before you start ripping your couch cushions apart like a raccoon in a trash can, sit tight. In this video, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about this rare and valuable 2002 D Washington quarter. We'll talk about what makes it so valuable, what to look for, how to identify the jackpot versions, and of course, how you can cash in. Plus, I'll share a little story about the time I nearly gave away one of my most valuable coins at a yard sale. Spoiler alert, it did not end well. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's dig into this $1 million mystery together. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 2002 D Washington quarter was minted in Denver. It's part of the 50-state quarters program. That year, there were 5 designs released: Tennessee, Ohio, Louisiana, Indiana, and Mississippi. If you've got a 2002 quarter with a little D under the year on the front, congratulations, you're halfway there. That D stands for Denver Mint, and it's crucial to this story. Not all 2002 D quarters are worth $1 million. If that were the case, we'd all be quitting our day jobs and retiring with a box of loose change. The coin we're talking about is rare because of a few specific details. And these are the ones you need to pay attention to. First up, it's got to be in pristine condition. And I'm not talking about, I wiped it on my jeans, condition. I mean mint state, uncirculated, shiny as the day it was struck. We're talking MS68 or higher on the grading scale. That's the coin collector equivalent of a unicorn. Most quarters get banged up pretty fast just doing their job, paying for parking, getting stuck in vending machines, or going for a swim in the washing machine. Now let's talk about errors. This is where things get spicy. The $1 million version of the 2002 D Washington quarter typically has some kind of rare minting error. Double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, cuds. These sound like kung fu moves, but they're actually legit minting mistakes that make certain coins super collectible. The most valuable ones tend to have a double die on the reverse. That's the back of the coin, with the state design. If the image looks slightly doubled, almost like it's got a shadow, that's a huge red flag, in a good way. It means you might be holding onto a small fortune. Let me tell you a quick story about how I almost gave away a coin worth thousands. So I was helping my neighbor with a yard sale, right? I'm digging through a box of old stuff, pricing things for $1 or $2, and I find this jar of change. Being the helpful guy I am, I start rolling coins. And bam, I spot a shiny 2002 D Mississippi quarter that just looked different. I mean, it had a glow to it. My spidey sense was tingling. So instead of tossing it into the 25-cent bin, I set it aside. Later that night, I looked it up and guess what? It had a double die on the magnolia blossoms. After sending it in for grading, it came back as an MS68 double die reverse. At auction, that thing pulled in 5 figures. Now, it wasn't $1 million coin, but close enough that I treat every 2002 D quarter like royalty now. And yes, I split the money with my neighbor, in case you were wondering. It's a perfect storm, high grade, rare error, and demand. Collectors go nuts for rare state quarters, especially ones that come with errors that were quickly corrected at the mint. And when something is both rare and beautiful, the price skyrockets. Right now, the highest known value for a 2002 D Washington $quarter coin with a dramatic mint error and pristine condition is hovering around $1 million. It's sold through a private auction, and while that's not the everyday price for your average pocket quarter, it means there's serious money floating around in this market. Now, if you're wondering how to check your quarters without spending your life savings on coin equipment, here's a few simple tips. Get a cheap 10x magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Flip the coin over and check for doubling in the design, especially around the lettering or key features like flowers, instruments, or buildings, depending on the state. Hold it under a bright light and look at the luster. The shinier and more flawless it looks, the better. If you think you've got something, don't clean it. I repeat, do not clean it. That's the fastest way to destroy its value. Instead, send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine the coin, grade it, and if it's the real deal, slap it in a sealed case. That certificate of authenticity can mean the difference between a few bucks and a few Ferraris. Also, join online coin forums or check sold listings on auction sites like Heritage Auctions or eBay. You'll learn what's trending and what buyers are willing to pay. And who knows, maybe you'll find a buyer who's been hunting your exact coin for years. 1. 2002 D Washington $2, pristine condition, preferably MS68 or better. 3. Visible minting error, like a double die or off-center strike. 4. Certified by a trusted grading service. 5. Serious buyer demand in the market. Alright coin fam, there you have it. The humble little 2002 D Washington quarter might just be your golden ticket. And the best part? You don't need a metal detector or a treasure map. You just need a keen eye, a little patience, and maybe a flashlight and magnifier. Who knew that digging through your pocket change could be more exciting than a Netflix thriller? Now if you learned something today, or if you're already halfway to the couch to check your change jar, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got loads more videos coming your way about coins worth big money, collecting strategies, and how not to accidentally give away a 5-figure coin at a garage sale. True story. Smash that like button, share this video with your coin-curious friends, and let me know in the comments if you've ever found a valuable coin in the wild. Or if you think your grandma might have a treasure trove in that dusty old coin purse she keeps in the back of the closet.